Karma, Iraq, located between Baghdad and Fallujah, has been a frequent hotbed of al-Qaida and insurgent activity. It is a microcosm of what is called the Anbar Awakening, the rising up of the residents of Al-Anbar against al-Qaida.
The Iraqi people, particularly in Anbar, decided that this was not the route that they wanted to take. And they started to take their fate into their own hands. And I think that was a very, very significant factor.
Colonel G.I. Wilson served 2 tours in Iraq's Al-Anbar province, including the Karma area, a notoriously rough town in Iraq's most lawless province.
But Al-Anbar was a tough place. I mean, you're talking about the NFL for insurgency. They rolled some pretty heavy dice out there when they came out of the woodwork. I think maybe it was sort of the epicenter of the bad guys. If you were looking for trouble, you just had to go to Karma. One of the places that you didn't have to look for it; it found you.
Anbar province has been the most violent province in Iraq. In September 2006, a Washington Post headline declared, "Situation called dire in West Iraq." The article stated, "The prospects for securing Anbar are dim. That Anbar is beyond repair, and the United States has lost in Anbar." The headline and the story were based on a classified report by a Marine intelligence officer. The report paved the way for a wholesale change in strategy and tactics. Increased foot patrols, smaller outposts, engagement with the tribes, and the in-depth collection of data that are the hallmarks of the troop surge.
I think the big thing was to get us outside the wire. And when you had more people, you were able to do more patrolling and get outside the wire. And what happens? Well, when you get outside the wire and you start getting involved in the neighborhood, you're going to run into some bad actors, and your casualties are going to go up. Theirs going to go up, and yours are going to go up. And also, when you start getting outside the wire, you get exposed to improvised explosive devices. But once you start operating out there, and you've been up and down that street that's a couple of times, 3 or 4 days in a row, and you know what's supposed to be there and what's not, instead of blowing through it in an armored Humvee at 60 miles an hour, going from one Fort Apache to the other, when you start out there working with the people, you're living out there in outposts, you start doing what I refer to as community policing, or acting, sort of using the combined action platoon concept, living in the village, living in the neighborhood, being part of the neighborhood, and helping to provide some residual security. That changed the complexion of a lot of things.
This change in tactics coincided with the Anbar Awakening. Tribal groups working with the coalition and Iraqi police set up checkpoints to protect their villages from al-Qaida.
What you're seeing is the emergence of neighborhood watch. What we hope to eventually have become the Iraqi police in this area.
Lieutenant Colonel James McGrath commands the Marine Battalion stationed along the Euphrates River between Ramadi and Fallujah, where tribal groups are supporting the coalition against al-Qaida.
The AQIZ did not deliver the success that was originally hoped for. AQIZ's end state was not going to allow them to return to a normal life. It just took a while for them to realize that. And so the sheikhs, in fact, decided to turn against AQIZ. By turning against AQIZ, they turned to the coalition force. So what you see at those checkpoints are people that are concerned about the security only in their local area.
During the winter of 2007, the Awakening and neighborhood watch groups spread down the west bank of the Euphrates, where the tribes and sub-tribes are tied together, then spontaneously jumped the river to an unlikely area, Karma.
We work in an area directly around the village of Karma, Iraq. We work a pretty large battle space that covers the entire area, roughly 15 kilometers from south to north and about 20 kilometers from west to east.
Al-Qaeda elements in Karma waged a campaign of terror that Cavanese paratroopers fought to tamp down. A specific target of Al-Qaeda were the police officers.
In September of 2006, Al-Qaeda went on a deliberate campaign beheading Karma policemen, placing their heads around Karma as a symbolic gesture. That's what would happen to you if you worked with the coalition or you worked with the Iraqi government.
The targeting of the police officers was the undoing of al-Qaeda's influence in the Karma area, specifically in the village of Shiabi.
أخبروني كل شرطي بالقرية راح نجي نقتله بتدمير القرى إذا لم تنصاعوا لأوامرنا وتبليغاتنا. ومن تلك اللحظة بدأ العداء الفعلي.
This man is a retired Iraqi Air Force officer and a leader of the Provisional Security Forces in Shiabi. I spoke with him through a U.S. Army interpreter about al-Qaeda and why so many Iraqis were turning against al-Qaeda.
نعم لأن تكشفت لهم حقائق القاعدة.
Yes, because they know what al-Qaeda need. They know what their goals.
لأنه كل عائلة عراقية فقدت كثير من أبنائها سواء من جراء العمليات الإرهابية التي يعملوها بواسطة السيارات المفخخة أو قتل أبنائهم وذبحهم لأنهم منخرطين بسلك الشرطة أو الجيش. عند ذلك تيقن الشعب العراقي خطورة تنظيم القاعدة. على هذا المبدأ تيقن الشعب العراقي وصح مما كان مغرر به فوقف ضد هذا التنظيم.
The stories of al-Qaeda and the insurgents' brutality are heard over and over again in Iraq.
يقتلونا بدون أي شيء بدون أي سبب.
They kill us without any reason. We don't know why they kill us.
قتلوا أخواننا وقتلوا أعمامنا.
They kill my brothers and they kill my uncles.
تجينا فئات عرب ما نعرف شنو هم.
Sometimes the fighters that they come here we don't know who are they and where they came from.
نريد نحافظ على أمانة أطفالنا ونسائنا.
We just need to keep our children and our families safe.
هذا إرهاب مو جهاد أو مثل ما هم يتصورون.
This is not jihad as they believe. This is a terror.
I think al-Qaeda overplayed their hand, and they wanted to always make such a dramatic statement, such a graphic, bold, dramatic statement. You know, decapitating people, cutting people's heads off. I mean, it was just they demonstrated that they were extremely brutal, and they were committed to doing whatever was necessary. I mean, Al-Qaeda made it very clear they were very willing to die for their cause. I think the Iraqi people got tired of Al-Qaeda volunteering the Iraqis to die for their cause.